Getting to know the DOM, or DOM. We all know that a huge part of Ajax programming involves working in the web page, and the web pages are viewed as collections of objects using the HTML DOM. Where this DOM is the one which gives the power to access everything in a page, say for instance using DOM, we can append elements to what's already there, replace elements, search for and find elements, and so on. So it plays a major role in Ajax. Let's discuss more about it. This document object model is really just a tree-based representation of a document created by the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, for XML and HTML, XHTML. And it provides a set of objects for representing the structure of the document, as well as the methods for accessing those objects. Let's see what they are. But before that, just know that all the elements in a page are related to the topmost object. That is the document object. So, using this model, we can access any object in an HTML document with JavaScript, and we can change its properties. Say, for example, we can change the object's position, style properties, or its content, and we can even add new content to it. Are you clear? Fine. Now let's see this with one example. This is the plain HTML script with a title and some text in the H1 header. Fine. Now let's see in DOM terms. The elements of this simple web page make up a collection of objects arranged into a tree structure. This is now the web page and how it looks in DOM terms. As stated earlier, JavaScript supports many built-in properties, which will help us to work with DOM. Let's see what they are. See? These are the different JavaScript properties, and here is its description. We will discuss these properties briefly in our upcoming tutorials, so now let's move to our next topic. Document as node tree. See, in addition to viewing the document as a family tree, it can also be viewed as a node tree. In node tree view, a document is considered as a collection of nodes, where the nodes are the branches and leaves on the document tree. Actually, here in JavaScript we have several types of node. In what we have three important nodes, and they are element nodes, text nodes, and attribute nodes. Now you can see here. This is how the web page looks like in terms of DOM nodes. See? These are the element nodes, and these two are the text nodes. I hope you understand this. Now let's see the accessing methods of DOM in our next lesson. DOM methods for accessing objects. Once you understand the basic structure of the DOM tree, you can use it to access any element in the document using the DOM method. JavaScript supports two methods to access the elements in the document, called getElementById and getElementByTagName. Well, now let's discuss it one by one. GetElementById. If an element has an ID, then it is the easiest way to access the element using getElementById method. Let's take one example. Look at these lines. See here, we have given an ID myPara for this paragraph tag, and here we are accessing its value using the element getElementById method. As I said previously, all the elements in a page are related to the topmost object, document object, so here we used this document. Now this X is the shortcut to access and to change the property of this paragraph element. Now this line changes the font weight of this element to bold. Similarly, we can also use this getElementById method to access the elements using family relationships and node properties. Let's discuss this one example. See here, we have head and body tag using the ID of these two elements so we can access the properties of all the elements in the page. This line accesses the parent node of the element head. Similarly, this line accesses the children of the body tag. The child nodes will be contained in an array, so we have to use the index number, like in this line. See, this line fetches the first child of the body element. So I hope you've got enough knowledge about this getElementById method. Let's move to our next method, getElementByTagName. To use the getElementByTagName method, we have to use the tag name rather than the ID. See here, we have used the tag name, and now this Y will contain an array referencing to all P elements in the document. So if we would like to access the first paragraph element, then the code should be like this. I hope you are clear with both the above discussed methods. So let's discuss about nodes in our next tutorial. Creating a DOM node. In addition to reorganizing existing DOM nodes, there are some cases where we really need to create new nodes and add them to the document. Say, for instance, creating a message box on fly and something like that. JavaScript DOM gives us some methods to do that. Let's see what they are and how to implement them. Our first method is createElement. This method is used to create an HTML element, taking the tag type as an argument. Now, consider we would like to create a div tag using this createElement method. Let's see how to do that. See, as stated earlier, here we have passed this div tag type as its argument. So this line of code will create a div tag. Well, now consider we would like to insert some text inside this div tag. How will we do that? Well, we have another method called createTextNode to do this. This method creates a DOM node representing a piece of text. We commonly find this method inside heading tag, div, paragraph, and list item tags, and so on. So now, look at this piece of script. See, in this line we are creating a text node with the value someText. The DOM standard treats this text node as separate from those representing HTML elements, and we can't apply stars to them directly. Instead, we can apply stars to the DOM elements that are holding it. Are you clear? Well, once the node has been created, it must be attached to the document before it is visible in the browser window. The DOM node method called appendChild is used to do this. Let's see how. Look at this script. Here this line appends the div tag to the document, and here we are appending the text node to the document. Handling this DOM method is not hard. Maybe not as hard as we expected, right? Well, actually these three methods, say createElement, createTextNode, and appendChild, give us everything that we need to add to a document. And I hope you are clear with all these three methods which we discussed in this tutorial. Fine, let's move on to our next tutorial. Replacing elements using DOM. So far we have learned how to create a new element and how to append it to the document, right? Yes. Now consider we don't want to append the new text. Instead, we would like to replace the existing text with new text, like this. First, if we click this button, it will display the text. This is the test message. Now let's click this button. See, the text itself has been replaced by the new text. This is the replaced text message. It's something nice to work with, isn't it? Yes, let's see how it works. This is the script of the above discussed example. As we have seen before, here we have used two buttons for two messages. And here we are using one paragraph tag with the ID text, and which has been enclosed inside the div tag, which has an ID of target div. Here is where we are going to display our fetched data. As soon as the user clicks this button, it calls this function getData, where our actual process is going to take place. See, here we've created the XML HTTP request object in preparation of downloading any one of the two text files, that is, data1.txt or data2.txt, which is just going to hold the text. To replace the current text in the P element with the newly downloaded text, we have created a new P element with the same ID here, and this line appends the downloaded text to the paragraph tag. Here we are enclosing it inside the div tag, and finally, here we are replacing the existing paragraph with the newly created one. Fine. So I hope you understand this script. So let's move on to our next tutorial. Using inner HTML property. The methods which we have discussed so far provide a low-level control over the DOM API. However, the other two methods, called createElement and appendChild, play an important role in building a document and is best suited for situations in which the document is being created follows a regular structure that can be encoded as an algorithm. Well, now let's get into our topic. All popular web browsers' DOM elements support a property called inner HTML. It's actually a string which represents what the browser interprets as HTML inside the div and span tag. And it also allows us to assign the arbitrary content to an element in a very simple way. Let's see what we can do with this in one simple example. Now look at this example. Here we have one anchor tag and button with value change link. So, as soon as the user clicks this button, it calls this changelink function. See, here we are accessing anchor tag by its ID myAnchor and assigning the value Ajax using inner HTML property. Similarly, here we are changing the link and the target. Now let's see how it works. See, here we have Microsoft, right? Fine. Now let's click this button, Change Link. Wow! See, it has taken a new value Ajax. So now this inner HTML property is no more a new topic for us, right? Well, now let's move on to our next lesson.